The Onogurs or Oğurs were Turkic nomadic equestrians who flourished in the Pontic-Caspian steppe and the Volga region between 5th and 7th century, and spoke Oğhuric language. Etymology: the name Onogur is most often derived as Onogur, 10 Oğurs. Modern scholars consider Turkic tribal terms Oğurs and Oğur to be derived from Turkic *og, meaning kinship or being akin to. The terms initially were not the same, as Oğurs meant arrow, while Oğul meant offspring, child, son. Oğurs was tribe, clan, and the verb oqsa meant to be like, resemble. History: around 463 AD, the Arkartsi and other tribes that had been part of the Hunnic Union were attacked by the Saragars, one of the first Oğhuric Turkic tribes that entered the Ponto-Caspian steppes as the result of migrations set off in Inner Asia. According to Priscus, in 463 the representatives of Saragar, Oğur and Onogur came to the emperor in Constantinople, and explained they had been driven out of the homeland by the Sabirs, who had been attacked by the Avars in Inner Asia. This tangle of events indicates that the Oğhuric tribes are related to the Tingling and TL people. It is considered they belonged to the westernmost TL tribes, which also included the Oğurs, Tokohas and the Oğuz Turks, and were initially located in western Siberia and Kazakhstan. In early 7th century Theophylactus Samocats recorded that certain Onogur city Beta Alpha Kappa Alpha Theta was destroyed by an earthquake before his lifetime. The Sogdian name indicates it was situated in the vicinity of Iranian Central Asia. The 10th century Moses Kaygan Kathvatsi recorded, considered late 4th century, certain Onogur, a Hun from the Honk, who raided Persia, which is related to the Onogurs. They were located near Transcaucasia and Sasanian Empire. Scholars also relate the Huan to this account. The Oğurs and Onogurs, in the 6th and 7th century sources, were mentioned mostly in connection with the Avar and Turks' conquest of western Eurasia. According to the 6th century Menander Protector, the leader of the Omicron Gamma Omicron Upsilon Rho Omega Nu, had the authority of the Turk-Abgu Khagan in the region of Kuban River to the Lower Don. Samocats in the letter of the Turk Gamma and to the Emperor Mauricios recorded a complex notice. The Khagan set off on another undertaking and subjugated all the Gamma Omega Rho. This people is of the most powerful because of the numbers and the training for war in full battle gear. They have made their abodes towards the east, whence flows the river Tau Iota Lambda, which the Turks have the custom of calling the Black. The oldest chieftains of this people are called Omicron Alpha Rho and Chi Omicron Upsilon Nu Iota. According to the Khagan, part of those War and Kuni who arrived to Eastern Europe were mistook by the Onogurs, Basils, Sabirs and other tribes for the original Avars, and as such the Uar and Huns took advantage of the situation and began call themselves as the Avars. Samocats also recounts, when the Oğur, then, were brought completely to heel, the Gamma and gave over the chief of the Kappa Lambda Chi to the bite of the sword, shows Oğur's resistance toward Turk authority. Scholars consider if the till is Kara Itili, Volga, then the mentioned Gamma Omega Rho would be the Oğurs, while if it's in Inner Asia, then could be the Oğurs. Jordanus in Getica mentioned that the Hunuguri were notable for the marten skin trade. In the Middle Ages, marten skin was used as a substitute for minted money. This also indicates they lived near forests and were in contact with Finno-Ugrian peoples. The Syriac translation of the Pseudo-Zacharias Retter's Ecclesiastical History in Western Eurasia records the Avnaga, WNGWR, described in typical phrases reserved for nomads in the ethnographic literature of the period, as people who live in tents, earn a living on the meat of livestock, African fish, of wild animals and by the weapons. For the 8th century, the Byzantine sources often mention the Onogurs in close connection with the Bulgars. Agathon wrote about the nation of Onogurs Bulgars. Nikephoros I noted that Kubrat was the lord of the Onogurs. His contemporary Theophanes referred to them as Onogungur Bulgars. Kubrat successfully revolted against the Avars and founded the Old Great Bulgaria, also known as Onogungur Bulgar State, or Patria Onoguria in the Ravenna cosmography. Constantine VII remarked that the Bulgars formerly called themselves Onogurs. This association was previously mirrored in Armenian sources, such as the Ashkeratsu, which refers to the Ol-Sontor blocker, and the 5th century history by Moses Korenatsi, which includes an additional comment from a 9th century writer about the colony of the Vlandur Balkar. Marquardt and Golden connected these forms with the IGNDR of Ibn al-Kalbi, the VNNDR of Hudud al-Alam, the WLNDR of al-Masudi, and Hungarian name for Belgrade Nandorfehvar, the NNDR of Gardasy and *1 in the letter by the Khazar King Joseph. All the forms show the phonetic changes typical of later Oğhuric. The origin of the Kutrigurs and Udigurs, who lived in the vicinity of the Onogurs and Bulgar, and the mutual relationship is considered as obscure. Scholars consider unclear how the union between Onogurs and Bulgars formed, viewing it as a long process in which a number of different groups were merged. During that time, the Bulgars may have represented a large confederation of which the Onogurs formed one of the core tribes, and remnants of Udigurs, Kutrigurs among others.